been concerned about the polls at all? Where the party's standing right now?
We've been consistently concerned about Carbon Tax Carney's failure to provide any transparency to Canadians about his financial interests for half a decade while he's been advising the Carney-Trudeau Liberal government. And there have been if only few questions from the media about how much his megacorp profited while he was advising the government. And this is incredibly important to Canadians after we've had 9 years of a government run by serial ethical lawbreakers from the Prime Minister through his front bench, including ministers who are reoffering and supporting Carbon Tax Carney in his bid to run the Liberal Party and to be Prime Minister of Canada. It's unbelievable that this guy has provided no transparency whatsoever about what his financial interests are. So Canadians are wondering this. We've been demanding answers, but there hasn't been a lot of ink spilled on it, and certainly Mark Carney's been in witness protection and hasn't answered a whole lot of questions. So we're going to keep asking those questions. We look forward to seeing and reading the questions that you've put to Carbon Tax Carney about his profits that he's cashed in while advising the NDP Liberal government.
Do you think this election is going to be about the carbon tax? Do you think this election is going to be about the carbon tax? Do you think it's going to be more about Donald Trump and Canada-U.S. relations?
Look, we are the only party who said that we're going to get rid of the carbon tax. We've heard lies from the Liberals about what they're going to do with the carbon tax, and Carbon Tax Carney committing to bring in a shadow carbon tax on Canadians. A tax by any tax is still taking money out of a tax by any name is still taking money out of Canadians' pockets. And so this election is about what's best for Canadians, putting Canadians first, and nothing puts Canadians first like axing the carbon tax. Thanks very much.
I think the next election is going to be about the carbon tax, Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Scheer, you're concerned at all about polls?
I just want to address Mark Carney's comments where he was downplaying the opioid crisis that is facing that Canadians are suffering from. Nearly 50,000 Canadians have lost their lives. Fathers and mothers have lost children. People have lost siblings as a direct result of the 9 years of Carney-Trudeau soft on drugs, soft on crime approach. A direct result of the Carney-Trudeau Liberals giving out free opioids, legalizing drug use in public spaces. And to downplay that, to refuse to call it a crisis and just call it a challenge, shows you that he doesn't have to deal with these types of consequences of these policies. He lives in a completely different world. He doesn't have to buy groceries in tough neighborhoods or take public transit. And he made those comments 2 days ago, and yesterday he was in Vancouver, didn't get a single question from the media on this. So why isn't the media holding Mark Carney to account? He's about to become the Prime Minister because a small group of Liberal Party members are going to install him. The least you can do is cover the way he's treating these important issues that are facing Canadians.
He'll balance the budget in 3 years.
Who can handle Donald Trump best, and how do you persuade Canadians that you're that choice?
By putting Canada first. If you look at the conversation right now, again, Mark Carney was in Regina. He was talking about steel and getting our energy to markets. This is a guy who applauded canceling major energy projects that would have made us less dependent on the United States. The Carney-Trudeau Liberal approach has made Canada more vulnerable by telling our allies that we're not going to sell them our clean and ethical LNG. That's ridiculous. The Carney Liberal approach has made Canada more vulnerable and more dependent on the United States.
Look, I think over the last 2 days, Mark Carney again admitted his own lie about not wanting to impose a carbon tax. In fact, he says he's changing the carbon tax, a new and bigger carbon tax, and in particular insanity, a carbon tax on steelmakers at a time where we're staring down tariffs. This is not axing the carbon tax. There is only one party that will do that. This is a new and bigger carbon tax.